Hey there, Fletch All Things Overlanding here, and today on this episode of the podcast, I'm going to be talking about what it takes to be an Overlander. And what I mean by that is, I get people in my comments a lot, I get people on my social media pages that are like, I like to go camping sometimes, but I'm not very good at GPS. Or I like to go, spend time with my family in the woods, but my wife hates camping, right? So a lot of people ask questions about kind of what is it that is involved in overlanding and what does it take? So in this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit after years and years of doing this, not to do any sort of humble bragging. So I'm just going to put that out front. This may sound like it, but it is not. I'm just going to point out some facts and some things that I've learned over the years that kind of have shown that my personality and life experiences have lent themselves well to me being an overlander. And I'm going to share those things with you so that if you are wondering, am I going to be a good overlander? Would I make a good overlander? And again, not to say anything exclusive or that you can't do it if you don't share these traits, but just to sort of give you an idea of what is typically required in order to be good at overlanding and enjoy overlanding. So that is what this episode is going to be about. So if you want to learn more about that, stay tuned.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, I got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys. So as I mentioned in the intro today, I'm talking about what does it take to be an overlander? And I'm using air quotes if you're listening on the podcast. Because again, these are my opinions, right? This is just my podcast where I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that I have sort of seen in my personality and my upbringing that have lent themselves well to overlanding. So I'm going to break this up into a few different sections for this episode. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about sort of personality traits and things like that. What do you need personality-wise and sort of experience-wise in order to be an overlander and sort of enjoy overlanding? Second, I'm going to dive into just a brief overview of sort of what you need equipment-wise. So what do you need to purchase or what do you need to own? A lot of the times you will find you have this stuff. You don't need to go buy new stuff. So I'm going to touch on that a tiny bit. I've done that in other episodes, so I'm not going to go super deep, but I'm going to give you the basics since this is kind of an Overlanding 101 type episode. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it up with sort of what are your desires, right? Like, if you want to be an overlander, the kind of question is why, right? Why do you want to be an overlander and what are your goals and what is overlanding that could correspond with that or could match up with that? So I'm going to end on that. All right. But let's start with what personality traits fit best, right? So I grew up in Southern Indiana. I am a, kid that was raised as a latchkey kid. Basically, I was born in 80. My parents both worked all the time, so they didn't get home till dinner time usually. So we would get home from school at like 2:30. And we were just loose. We were just running around. We were encouraged not to be on the TV, not to be on video games. So we would go out, my brother and I. When I say we, my brother and I is what I'm talking about. We would go out and find our friends in the neighborhood. We would play roller hockey. We would play basketball. We'd play baseball, wiffle ball. We would build tree forts. We would build zip lines, which often failed and resulted in us falling very far from trees. So we were outdoor kids, right? We would have acorn wars, is what we called it, where we would basically like build a pit, dig a pit, fill it with acorns that we collected, and then we would have two sets of those, and we would pick up handfuls of acorns or put them in our shirts, and we would run around and pelt each other with them. And if you hit someone, they were out, right? And you tried to beat the other team, and whoever had the most people left or had, not everyone knocked out, that was the winner of the acorn war. Those were the kind of things that I did when I was a kid. And again, the reason that I bring this up is I think that also lends itself really well to overlanding, right? Like when you are overlanding, the general rule of thumb is you're probably going to be bored some. You're going to have to drive long distances to get to wherever you're going, right? So you kind of have to have some resilience to potentially like fatigue and boredom. You're going to have to be able to entertain yourself. So that kind of lends itself to like the finding things to do and finding ways to be entertained when out in the wilderness. You're also going to have to be tough, right? Like things are going to be hard. You're going to get stuck and it's going to take hours to recover your vehicle. You're going to get lost. You're going to get frustrated because you can't find a spot. You're going to use Onyx and iCamper and iOverlander and all these different apps. You're going to try and find a camp spot in a different state or in a different part of the state that you live in, and you're not going to be able to find anything, and you're going to be frustrated and you're going to be mad, and you could quit and give up and go home. Or if you're going to be a good overlander, you could say, you know what? Yeah, this sucks and it's not going to be ideal, and maybe I end up sleeping in a Walmart parking lot or something, but I'm going to make it work because I'm dedicated to overlanding. I enjoy it. I like getting away. I like exploring. Maybe it doesn't always work out, but when it does, man, it's so good, right? You see that sunset view in the evening. You get that amazing camp spot next to a river or something. You find something that you've never seen before and that very few people will see, and you kind of get to understand that overlanding is worth it, even though sometimes there are trials and tribulations. So then next, let's talk a little bit about equipment, right? Again, I have always said, and I will always say, go with what you got, right? So my first piece of advice to almost all new overlanders is you shouldn't have to spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to get out and go overlanding. You just don't. There are a lot of elitists. There are a lot of people and companies that make it seem like you need every piece of gear. You need to spend thousands of dollars to get out there and go. And there are even people that argue and gatekeep overlanding and say, well, you're just car camping, or you're just camping, or you're just, going to dispersed camping and camping, right? And sometimes that's true to a degree, but I view it all as overlanding or overlanding adjacent, right? So like, even if you go for a one-nighter or a two-nighter in a local national forest, if you are relying on your vehicle, and if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you can see in the background my truck with a rooftop tent and an awning, has a fridge in it. I've got a drawer system. I've got a dual battery system. I'm able to stay out here for days and days and keep everything running and keep food cold. And I've got a place to sleep, and I've got an awning to protect me if the weather gets bad. I'm pretty self-reliant. Now, I've spent a fair amount of money and I've, got a fair amount of gear. You don't have to do that, though. You could have a gazelle gazebo that's a few $100 that you throw up, and you could camp under it. You could throw a mattress down on the ground, throw a cot on the ground. There's all kinds of ways that you can get into overlanding and you can be successful at overlanding. So when I say the basics of equipment that you need, what I'm really talking about is just shelter, food, and water, right? Like, you have to have a way to get out and explore. You have to have a reliable vehicle. You have to have a place to sleep. You have to have a way to cook, or you may not have to cook. If you don't want to cook, you could just bring freeze-dried meals and boil some water and have a delicious dinner based on a mountain house or a Mamu's kitchen or something like that. You could bring gas station food. You could bring hot dogs and cook them over a fire. There are no right and wrong ways to do this. As much as, again, like the elite type people may tell you like you're in Indiana, it's not overlanding, you're just camping. Sure. I mean, technically, I would agree with that. I think that's true. But again, if I'm relying on my vehicle, if I could go from Indiana to Kentucky over to Virginia and then back, and I could be basically relying on my vehicle aside from fuel that I got to stop and get on the road, then I call that overlanding, right? I'm going out, I'm exploring, I'm seeing new things. There's no reason to gatekeep and to tell people they're not really overlanders because they didn't buy, a brand new Land Cruiser, or they didn't buy a brand new Bronco Raptor, right? Like, you don't have to spend that kind of money. So as far as equipment goes, to be a real overlander, I think it's just whatever you want to take that allows you to enjoy nature and to be relying on your vehicle. That's literally it, as far as I'm concerned. So again, no gatekeeping from me there. I think just get out and explore and enjoy yourself. That's what matters. So finally, then, I want to touch on, why do you want to overland, right? This is a very important thing that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people talk about the where, they talk about the what, they talk about the vehicles, they talk about the gear, right? I want to talk about, why do you want to overland? And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of us see things on Instagram, or we see it on YouTube, and we're like, man, that looks amazing. It looks super epic, right? Like, I've never had an adventure like that before. I've never been to Alaska. I've never been to the Ozarks of, Missouri. I've never been to these places that look so amazing and so beautiful, right? But then you get sucked in a little bit by that, right? It's a little bit of a false narrative, because it's like, oh, well, yeah, it looks amazing, but like, what does it really take for you to get there, right? Like, for me, it's 10 plus hours of driving just to get to the Ozarks. To get to Alaska, it's 4 days of driving, right? I'm in the Midwest. So like, what I think it's important to think about is, why do you want to overland? And when you think about that, also, what are you able to do based on your life situation? Do you have kids? Do you have wife, husband? Do you have a family? Do you have obligations, work, that kind of thing? Can you really get out and enjoy yourself and go on an overlanding trip, a long one? Maybe not. Maybe you can do a one-nighter or a two-nighter. Again, I don't want to gatekeep that. I think that if you're getting out and relying on your vehicle, that's what really matters. So go out for that overnighter. Go out for that two-night trip, right? With the idea that that is practice for, when the opportunity arises for you to take a 1 week or 2 week or a 1 month trip to really explore the US, or to go up to Alaska, or to go to Canada, or, whatever the case may be, wherever you are in the world, right? There are other people in other countries that may have bucket list items that they want to hit. And again, I think the important thing is thinking not about the what, not about, oh, it's cool and I want to look like I'm a badass and I'm, I have this really cool built rig and I'm going out and I'm exploring and doing stuff that no one else is doing. That is fun and that is a part of it. But I think the main reason, at least for me, has always been that, like, life, especially now in 2025, is stressful, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on politically. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of pollution. There's a lot of, culture war stuff going on. My kids say skibbity all the time. I don't understand that. So for me, part of it, and not that I want to get away from my kids. I love my kids and my wife, don't get me wrong. But part of that is sometimes they will drive me crazy. Like, we will spend too much time together. But for real, sometimes life gets stressful. Work gets stressful. Again, all those other things I mentioned, they kind of pile up on you, right? And there are certain types of people who they escape via movies, let's say. There are certain types of people who escape by driving. I'm a big car guy. I like to, sometimes it's nice to just go out on a nice, clear summer evening and roll the windows down and drive a sports car or something. I don't have one now, but when I have one again, go out and drive your fast car around a little bit and just kind of enjoy it and be away from people, be out separate. But in my opinion, one of the best ways and one of the most sort of relaxing ways is to get out in nature, like I am right now, and to just spend time there, right? Like, I've been here all day by myself. I've been able to think. I've been reading a book. I've been, I shot some videos for you guys, and I've just kind of unwound. I've been able to relax and think a lot about life, and again, just slow down, because things are so fast. I'm a very OCD person, and I'm in a customer satisfaction role where, things pop up all the time, and people have needs, and my family has needs, and everybody has needs. And again, I don't want to say that I'm eschewing those needs or I'm trying to avoid those needs or anything like that. You have to be careful, right? You have to be cognizant. If my wife and kids had wanted to come, I think we'd have a great time out here. Because again, it's not about them being stressful. It's about the world being stressful, right? It's about the doorbell ringing, Alexa pinging you and going off and saying you have a new notification, your cell phone pinging. Like, out here, I have no reception. And I'm able to just sit here and talk to this camera, to you guys, to the podcast, right? And just to say sort of my feelings and to think about that stuff, which again, I'm not a big therapy guy. Nothing wrong with any of that. I've just never really done it. But like, for me, this is almost like therapy, right? Talking to the camera, one, but more importantly, being out away from anything, right? Like, people a lot of the time say like, oh, you do YouTube, you must be really social, right? Like, you're very outgoing. And honestly, I mean, I kind of am, because I'm a customer satisfaction person. You have to be, but I view that more as like the personality I have to take on for work. Whereas when I come out here, right, I'm pretty reserved and pretty quiet. And most of the time I'm just reading a book or watching a show on my phone or just chilling and just sort of like being disconnected from stuff, being away from people and being able to sort of reset. Right. So that, I think, is important. I think it's important for you to think about the why, right? Like, if you want to do it because you want to be YouTube famous, that's not a good reason. And I know that's funny coming from me because I do YouTube, but like, when I started out to do this, I was just like, I watched all these videos and I'm like, these are all epic and they're amazing, but I can't ever do any of that, right? Like, I've been doing overlanding now for like 7 or 8 years. I've never been to Alaska. I haven't been to the Ozarks yet, right? Like, and again, a lot of people would say that means you're not a real overlander, right? You're not really going overlanding. But I've also spent probably like 30 to 50 nights a year in the woods, right? In the wilderness, in Virginia, in Kentucky, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in the winter, in the snow, in the summer, in the spring. Like, I've spent time outside, and I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody, right? And I think that's an important piece of the equation too, is, again, it's not about being famous or YouTube famous or Instagram famous. It's not about proving anything to anyone, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I do get a kick when I come back to my normal friends and they're like, wait, you were in Michigan for the last 3 days and it snowed 2 feet and it was -10? Like, that's crazy. I do kind of get a kick out of that. I won't lie, but that's not the reason I do it, right? I don't go out there to prove anything to anybody. I go out there because I love it. I just think it's so peaceful and it's so fun to go with friends, and it's so nice to just get away and do something different than watching TV or playing a video game or checking my computer or being on social media, right? Those things just wear on you. They grind on you. And so picking the right reasons, again, picking the reasons that make you feel good. If you go out and you go camping or overlanding and you hate it and you don't like bugs and you don't like being sweaty and you don't like being cold in the winter and you don't like the long drive that it takes to get to the place that you want to explore, then you don't have to do it, right? You're not proving anything to anybody. And that's what I wanted to point out in this episode, is that overlanding is what you make it, right? It's not necessarily supposed to be some sort of trial or like a thing that you say, I've done this thing, right? It's about proving it to yourself that you can do it, enjoying it, and getting out and exploring and seeing things that other people don't see and disconnecting from your normal life. So again, those are my feelings on this. Let's kind of wrap this up now with kind of my final thoughts, which are, again, do it because you love it. Get out. If you want to go by yourself, go by yourself. I'm a big solo guy. I like to go by myself a lot. But then sometimes after 1 or 2 solo trips, and I'm like, you know what? I miss my friends, or I miss my family, or I want to go out and I want to take the boys, or I want to go out and I want to go with my friends, right? Brady and Dave come with me a lot. They're kind of friends that I've mentioned before. And tonight I'm by myself, but tomorrow Brady and Dave are coming, right? So like that's kind of the fun of it too, is I get a solo night, but then I also get a night with friends. So, think about what you want. Think about what you want to do. Think about why you're doing it. Think about the gear that you've got and the equipment that you've got. Be safe, right? Like, not to say don't ever buy anything, but like, be safe, have a first aid kit, have the general stuff that you need, have food and water, right? Have something that you can use as a shelter. If the weather gets bad, be ready to leave, right? Like, there's no shame in that, but like, just get out and explore. And if you have those sort of, personality traits, if you have that sort of background where you grew up in the woods, if you have always been sort of a rural kid, if you've always been sort of, a tough kid that is willing to, get cuts and bruises and scrapes and scars and stuff on your arms, like, then you may be good at overlanding, right? I'm not smart or good at anything. I'm just tough enough that like I get hurt a lot and I screw up a lot and I'm uncomfortable a lot and I'm willing to suffer through it because the end result is worth it. So anyways, those are my thoughts on what it takes to be an overlander. I hope that that was informational for you. I hope that it was educational and fun. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I accept all feedback. So if you're on YouTube or Spotify, drop comments down below. If you are just listening on the podcast, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Drop a 5-star review. Add it to your favorites. Come over to my social channels, which are linked in the description down below, and join the conversation over there. I'd love to have you on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever you want to follow. I'm everywhere. Got the podcast, got the YouTube, all that stuff. So wherever you want to hang out, love to hang out with you. Also, if you are on YouTube, there's a join button below this video, which is just sort of a passive way to support the channel. It says, hey, thanks for the videos. And it also gets you some perks like early access to the videos and the podcast and some other perks. If you want to be more involved with all things overlanding, there's also a link to my Patreon group down below, which is awesome. We've got 20 some guys in there now. We would love to have some ladies. We have all guys right now. So if you're a lady and you're listening to this and you want to have a place where you can talk to people, we would love to have you. It's not a male chauvinistic thing at all. It just happens to be a bunch of dudes. So if you're a girl, we would love to have you in the Patreon too. Check out that link down below. There's also a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers, things like don't burn your wiener and it's a hot dog, or I hate people so I camp, or all things overlanding stickers and patches. So if anything like that sounds good, check that out. And then of course there's the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group, which is totally free to join and full of awesome people that just enjoy overlanding and they want to help people, whether you're new or experienced. There's something for everybody there and we'd love to have you. So again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.